and welcome to the Average Joe podcast. I'm your host here, Joe, and today we're talking the movie Acrimony. So if you haven't watched the movie, please go watch it. I will give a little bit of spoilers and everything throughout this video, but if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. I think it's one of Tyler Perry's best movies. People absolutely hate it because of the portrayal of the black woman and everything, but I think it's refreshing because it's a story of a lot of women, So let's kind of dive into the story. So the movie Acrimony is starring Taraji and it starts off in the courtroom, her and her husband are divorcing, and then it flashes to her in therapy. And I recommend that people go get therapy. She ended up getting it when she's 40, almost 40, so it's not too late, but if she definitely got it a little bit earlier, it would definitely helped her out a bit. But she's in therapy and she's talking to her therapist about what the hell went wrong and why she's there. So she, flashes back to when she was 21 in college, and she meets her now husband. And they were just college kids, trying to figure out life and everything. And then quickly into the movie, her mom dies, leaves her $350,000. And her sisters urge her, not to tell this guy, he's just going to come take all your money. He's just going to use you. Don't do this. Kind of make sure you wait and fill things out. When her sister was telling her, she just got up, walked out the room, quote unquote, woman's intuition. She didn't listen to it. And, obviously she runs and tells him, that she got the $350,000. And, as anybody would, he was bet, I just hit a lick. And, he drains her for every last thing. And, first, he gets her to buy her a car. And then, he cheats on her with this young lady. She goes into this whole rage. He was living in a trailer. She took her car and rammed it into the trailer, causing the trailer to have a bunch of damage, and then causing herself to have a hysterectomy at 21. And I don't know if you guys know this, but you can't have any kids. So imagine being 21, and because you didn't control your feelings and everything, you have to have a hysterectomy. Now you're no longer able to have children. Whew. Then, he comes, and she takes him right back. Then not too long right after that, I lost my scholarship. I have 2 more semesters of school. You're going to pay, She pays $75,000 for him to finish school, you guys. And then only for him to finish school, and then he can't get a job because he's a felon, and he never told her that he was a felon. So the 3 job opportunities that he have are they cease to exist. So, she just is yo, it's okay. Real soft, we'll figure it out. And then the movie just kind of they're in a mirror, the 21-year, 22-year-old selves, and then it flashes 18 years later. And then she's just but what happened? The days just flew by. She's especially when you don't have any kids or anything to kind of mark the passing of time, it just 18, 19 years of her life just kind of flew by. And of course, by this time, all the money's done. She's working 2 jobs. He's not working because he's still working on this battery. Damn it, I forgot about this whole battery. He, first talked about this battery. His whole thing was he's an inventor. He has his battery. It's going to change the world. So, that's all he was focused on. That's where all her money, that $350,000, after she paid for his school, paid for his car, the rest of the money went into feeding his dream of this battery becoming successful and, paying all the bills so that they can live. So all the money just, went there. And then, she's almost 40, and you could just see the sorrow in her face. And she's just can you get a job to help with the bills? Because he's just not, he's so focused on his battery. And so my issues with this movie are just how did you let this man sit for almost 20 years and never work, stable, long enough to really help you pay bills and really build a future? How did you carry this on your back to be working 2 jobs to support a man? Understand love, but I can't spend 18 years of my life breaking my back in hopes and praise, that your dream comes true. It's like, you could do it a couple years, maybe even a decade, but good God. It's like, where does it end? And one day, like, she just, like, explodes. Have you ever asked me what I wanted? And it was like, bitch, why the fuck you wait 20 years to say this? Like, you could have been told him, and he's, like, kind of getting nonchalant about it. Then one random day, he's been trying to get with this Prescott. He runs into the woman that he was cheating with back then. She works for Prescott. And, booda bada bang, she gets him an interview with Prescott. But on the day of this interview, he, because they've gone, like, so broke, their house is about to be foreclosed on, and the sisters, like, had to help them. So the only way that, they were going to help them, it was that if he went to work as a delivery driver. So on that day, of course, happenstance, that's when this, like, huge delivery needs to be, delivered. And of course, they put him to the job. They call Prescott, and then, obviously he chooses Prescott. They lose the client. He goes to Prescott. They offer him $800,000. He turns it down. Rightfully so, because that's, when you feel that your value is way more than that, like, also too, it's like, if after all this time they've coming up to me to offer me $800,000, that means there's something, more. Nonetheless, but when they go home, like, the families all have a family meeting. How fucking dare you? You made us lose our client, and then you didn't take the $800,000. So we're, like, still stuck stupid. And then she just, like, this was her breaking point. And our sisters are in her ear. Leave that man. We told you he wasn't no good. We told you, da-da-da. So final straw, she's set for divorce. So she, they go through the divorce. He's, like, begging, like, don't do this. Like, I still love you. We can make this work. She's like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And she, they get a divorce. And she, he goes, like, life, like, hits him hard. He's, like, going to a dishwasher. He's, like, living in a shelter, loses his phone. Life's hitting him hard. And, like, life's not too kosher for her. She's just, working her 9 to 5. She met her old college sweetheart before she had met him. They start dating, but then she's not happy. She's like, oh, for such a God, like Robert. And, oh, he doesn't make me feel, and I'm not as happy. And I was like, well, you kind of let go of your happiness. Where are you really ready to let all of that go? So, of course, Robert, her husband, like her ex-husband, that the other woman, who got him the interview that he had cheated with a long time ago, of course, she comes around, saves the day, picks them up, brings them into her house, gets them all together, and then, to her, like, to the luck of everything, now Prescott comes in. They're like, oh, we'll give you $150 million, and we'll give you, equity in the company and all this. So, like, life just completely changes for him. And then, him being the nice person that he was, like, he went to Taraji's job, and then as soon as he saw him, like, oh, you think you got a soup now? You think I want you? I don't want you. You think, I'm all set, like, I'm good. And he's like, nah. Here you are. Thank you so much. Hands her $10 million and the deed back to her mom's house because, they lost that. And she's obviously sitting there stuck, stupid, like, oh my God, Robert, everything you said was true. So then, obviously now she's, come on, how would anybody feel like the man you left is now the man that he said he was going to be? You spent 20 years waiting for him to be that man, and now it's all of a sudden. So she goes to, he got this high-rise apartment that, like, when they were younger, he's like, oh, that's where we're going to live, and that's what we're going to do. Like, so she goes there one day, in her trench coat, naked underneath, like, trying to seduce him, and he's obviously there with, the woman, like, he's with now, and she just, like, runs away, like, oh, my God, like, how dare you give her, like, everything that, like, you're supposed to give me. Taraji goes to try to sue this man in court. And it's like, the judge is like, whoa, he gave you $10 million that he did not have to give. Y'all were divorced before this money ever came up. And then she starts harassing the people. You need to stop harassing them. But, like, she'd gone, like, completely psycho. She'd already she was entrenched in their life. Like, she was stalking the girl, found out where her wedding dress was going to be and went and damaged that. was stalking them, calling their phone all hours. Then when she found out the woman was pregnant, that was like, it really set her off. She, became so involved in her life. Like, what happened? Like, why is this woman living out my dream? Like, with my man, like, she's getting, like, he's good in bed. Like, that's supposed to be me. We're supposed to be living in that skyrise apartment. We're supposed to have the boat that has the Mrs. Gale. That's supposed to be mine. The kids, that was supposed to be mine. Like, everything's supposed to be her. And she, couldn't accept that she did this all to herself. Like, and that it all, to move on with her life. Go get therapy, get yourself some help. Like, even in therapy, she was still like, no, it's her fault. It's all this. Like, this is my life. And when I see so many people hate this movie, I'm like, but why? Is it because it made her look like the, quote unquote, the angry black woman? And it was like, well, no, so many other women out there are living this story. They're sitting around, catering through this guy, and then they're going to hit their breaking point one day and just get the fuck out. And there's so many, there's so many women out there. I'm not saying the guy is free from blame, but if you have the opportunity to sit with somebody and they'll pay all the bills and you could just sit there and focus on your dream, though it's selfish, but are they wrong for that? Like, how could they be necessarily wrong for striking while the iron's hot? Like, if somebody was going to give me the chance to focus on my dreams, what would make me happy? And look at what ended up happening. Thank you for giving me all that time. I was able to perfect it. I was able to do everything. And then now, I'm able to live the life that I want. I'm sorry that you're not living the life that, I told you or what we thought it would be. Sorry it didn't work out that way, but it worked out for me because I'm living my life and I'm happy. Sorry that you didn't figure out what would make you happy. Figure out what your dreams were. I knew this battery. What made you happy? What were your dreams? What did you want? You sat around and was so entrenched and involved, and thought you could, make my life, and then you would just come along, and it was like, no, where did you find your own happiness? Where did you go look out for things that was going to make Taraji happy? And in the last scene of the movie, she literally goes cuckoo. And the couple, they're on the boat, just enjoying their life. She finds her on the boat. She shoots him. She comes up from the water. She tells the girl, take off the ring and all this really dramatic thing, and it just says you gave her everything and all of that, and then she drowns and dies all alone. And it's just okay, I can see totally why people are this movie's god awful, but I'd hope that we look at some of the lessons in the movie. Look at being with yourself and loving yourself first, foremost. Not putting somebody else's dreams, aspirations first. Also, not wasting your fucking time. How did you give somebody almost 20 years of your life and then be mad at them? They told you to stick around. You could have been left that year 2, 3, 4, 5. You saw the first red flag. He cheated on you, and you had to go and ram his trailer in. Red flags right there. Your sisters tried to warn you so that, hey, be wary of this guy. Hey, he's just going to be using you for your money. Hey, he's not contributing to the bills. Hey, you're just sitting here suffering. Sisters tried to warn you. You should also look at the team within yourself. You sat there and watched the mirror just go year by year by year by year. And, you aged and time just went by. And you never did anything to change it until it was quote unquote too late. You're 40. I know you saw my last video with this whole danger zone thing. Girl. So, this movie, it just kind of chronicles you through this life of this woman who, gosh, just ends up dying alone and miserable. And I'm just I hate that aspect of it. But it is just a cautionary tale to women that, hey, don't let these men waste your time. And, if you're going to stick it through, you better stick it through the long haul. Okay? Don't also let other people influence your relationship. She sat around and let her sisters influence her leaving her man and your man's no good and all this. No, listen to yourself. Don't, because you can't walk around blaming your sisters, because at the end, when she got her $10 million check and went home and showed her sisters, it's all your fault. It's again, you're blaming somebody else. It's your life. Why did you listen to your sisters? And at the end, she's oh, y'all are miserable and your marriage is anyway. Who listens to miserable people? You wouldn't even find some people who are happy in their marriage to listen to them, get some advice from them. I digress. But I really want people to watch the movie Acrimony. If you've seen the movie or go watch it, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Who was wrong? Because I'm telling you now, Taraji was all the way wrong. I don't care. You wasted your time. You didn't live your life for yourself. You weren't in tune with what you wanted. You walk around listening to your sisters instead of listening to your own intuition and what you wanted. Were you going to be happy if Robert never made it? Like, wouldn't you have been happy because you went with the other guy and you realized you were not happy? And you said to yourself, like, oh my God, I was so much happier with Robert. Oh my God, I keep rambling. But I'm probably going to redo this video, kind of breaking it down a little bit more, kind of just ramble straight through it. But I hope you got the gist of the movie. Hope you watch it and let me know what you think. Thank you for tuning in.